Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement with Robbie Fox. I am here with JoJo, who's starring right now in Moulin Rouge on Broadway. I was actually there for your opening night because you are my girlfriend's all-time favorite artist.
Really?
We have all the candles, we have all the vinyls, we've got the new vinyls on pre-order.
Gosh, she's a real one.
She's a real one. Her name's Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
So we were there on opening night. I want to know, how did this even come about, you being in Moulin Rouge on Broadway?
I have been a musical theater girly forever. Like when I was 6 years old, growing up south of Boston, I started doing theater in my hometown. And so, years later, I have always dreamed of doing Broadway, and something came up. I literally just kind of put it out into the universe. I saw Moulin Rouge in LA because they have like a touring production of it. And then I just said, wow, I'd love to do something like this one day. And the timing worked out where I got to do it. I auditioned and here we are. I can't believe you were there opening night. I was so scared. I've gotten much more comfortable.
Well, my girlfriend's such a big fan that she went back and she saw you again later, and she said, she's only gotten better. It's unbelievable.
That's so sweet.
I want to know about your opening night. Obviously very nerve-wracking, but you're no stranger to the stage. What was that like in comparison to like a great JoJo show, say the post-show high?
Yeah, the post-show high is real. And I mean, it's just nerve-wracking because there's so many other people on stage that like you could really fuck somebody up if you like.
Well, I saw a post from you on Instagram afterwards. You said you almost injured your co-star, Derek.
we like collided where we should not have collided. So like everything is choreographed down to a millisecond, and it has to be perfectly executed. So that stuff was new to me, like with the production value of the show, because it's such a spectacle.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. And, I'm coming down from the ceiling and there's like all these set pieces and all the beautiful members of the cast doing like this wild choreography. So that was new, and that same feeling of that high from after a show or during a show, but just more fun, I think, because I'm just not up there. There's more people up there.
It's a team atmosphere.
And I'm an only child, and I was never a sports player, so this is kind of like a team sport.
Yeah. What goes into the preparation for a role like this, where you're the lead role in a play, obviously huge choreography, got to learn your lines, ton of new songs. What goes into that?
I took it mad seriously. So like I worked with my vocal coach and learned all the songs and like just was ready even before rehearsal. So, and I learned the scenes and I had a perspective on them, and then we rehearsed here for between 3 to 4 weeks, like 6 days a week.
Wow. Long
rehearsals. But the way that they did it was smart. Like first we learned the acting part, and then we learned the music, and then we learned the choreography, and it was broken up like that. So then it wasn't everything all at once. And yeah, and it gets, I felt like the opening night was still like a dress rehearsal. I was still like,
really? Am
I ready for this? But, get out there. And
didn't come off like that.
Oh,
Came
thanks.
off like you were a seasoned vet on Broadway.
Well, thank you.
Now, when you're actually getting into character as Satine, do you do anything to like prepare yourself for a show right before you drop down from the ceiling in that big entrance?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a whole ritual that I have even with as I'm like walking to the stage. So like there's people that, are putting the set together. There's this guy, Pat, that we always, fist bump. And then I'm walking to the stage and then I do a little dance with Michelle who, does the curtains or whatever. Like I love those moments. And also I have a pre-show playlist that I listen to. I warm up. I do my weird singer shit, all the sounds.
Yep.
And drink my teas and elixirs and stuff. And I have somebody who helps me get into the outfits because there's 12 changes. And so like, it's just girl time in the dressing room.
Quick changes
before.
too.
Yeah. Like 25 seconds. The first
crazy.
one is
Yeah.
wild. And, so I do things like that. I do my own makeup, and then I get into the wig, and then I become Satine. And I wrote a note to myself on my dressing room mirror. It says, "You're a dying whore," because in fact, Satine is, and really, aren't we all?
Yeah.
And so just to remind myself and never get too, never lose sight.
Yeah. I saw an interview with you where you were talking about structuring a tour, like 2 shows, day off, 2 shows, day off. How do you prepare your vocals and keep them healthy, your vocal cords healthy through a Broadway schedule?
Yeah, the Broadway schedule is not for the faint of heart,
No.
or for those people who want to like party all the time. To be honest with you, like I'm grateful that I'm not in that season of life, because you just got to be disciplined. Some people can smoke and drink and go crazy, but like, for me, it's about hydration. It's about working out and making sure that like I do something harder than the show. Mm-hmm. So I'll like do a really intense workout and then feel like, okay, I'm ready for the show because I've already done something that's like, that I'm really...
You've overcome that hill.
Yeah. So like, I think that's a good thing. And then also periods of vocal rests and like knowing when to say no, knowing that sometimes speaking can be...
Is this harming you right now? Should we cut the interview short?
Yeah, honestly, actually, sometimes speaking can be more harmful for the voice than singing, because it's from a less supported place, as opposed to singing, where it's like this. Like I used to hear Ariana Grande speak and be like, I wonder why she speaks in that, kind of like a
so
tone
soft,
up here.
yeah.
But I totally understand why she's doing it now, because it is much healthier to speak there than like me being from Boston and I just like speak in the back of my throat sometimes. So I really try to be more supportive.
You should totally change your voice like Madonna. Just come out with a different accent one day and people will be stunned.
I'm just going to fuck people up.
Now, it's such a fun soundtrack on the whole musical. We watched the movie the night before because me and my girlfriend had never seen it. Oh, okay. So we watched it the night before and we loved the updated soundtrack choices in the musical. What are some of your favorites to sing every night?
So I get to sing Firework by Katy Perry, but in a very different way than how we know it. And I really love it because like it's just like she's giving herself a pep talk. And she's like, you still got this. You can change your life if you just, keep going and just shine and just bring that light forward. So I love singing that. I love this Adele moment meets Gnarls Barkley. And then there is a song from the movie that we still do called Come What May, which is a duet, which I really love.
Yeah, and obviously the Elton is such a classic. It's part of the movie,
song,
huge
so
part of the movie. You had to keep that one around, so that's really cool.
Yeah, but the songs definitely go up. It's like the last, I think they go up to like, 2018 or something. So they're songs that we all know and love.
Now, you are the youngest artist to ever have a #1 hit single at 13. Is it true, though, that Britney Spears tried to sign you when you were 10 even?
I might have even been 9. Yes. I sang my way through security at a summer concert in Boston. Like Kiss 108 was our pop station. And she must have been 17. If I was 8 or 9, she must have been 17. So she was just starting out. I sang one of her songs for her and then my mom exchanged info with her tour manager or something, and then there was a contract from Larry Rudolph, her lawyer, and they wanted to sign me to her production deal as her first artist. And it's kind of like weird even talking about that because it just seems, I can't believe it happened. It's so weird.
Crazy. Yeah,
I was
you had no
young.
fear as a kid either?
I had no fear.
Yeah.
Like I developed fear later in life, but I had no fear as a kid.
Well, when did that come along? Because obviously you have this huge career, platinum recording artist, but I assume you have a bit of obliviousness to the cutthroat business that you're in at first?
Yeah, I mean, since I was a teenager when it all started, and like a young teenager, like I hadn't even kissed a boy. I was 12, 13 years old. And so I think I started to feel like self-conscious and be afraid, like my second album maybe, or because then people like put it in my head. They're like, oh, the second album, and like, what if you're a one-hit wonder? And then once I had that second hit with Too Little Too Late, and not just a hit, but like it was the biggest jump on the Billboard chart at the time that they had ever seen. It was like we went from like in the 90s to like number 3 in the span of a week. And so it was a huge success. So then I was like, okay, it's going to be fine. Like as long as I can say that I had more than one hit, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And then I just started, feeling like the self-consciousness of the competitive nature of it all, and like the body image stuff. Like once I turned 18, then I was fair game, and then like people could start being like, well, you need to look like Nicole Scherzinger, like, or you need to look like whoever they were comparing me to. And I was like, I'm hungry though.
Yeah. Obviously you've like taken advantage of social media, and I feel like you use it so well. Are
like
you
it.
grateful that it wasn't around when you first started, though?
Yeah, I think of like if I were my age starting out now, I couldn't imagine, because even just being a regular kid today and putting yourself out there and feeling like, oh, I'm not cool, or I'm not good enough if people don't like, if not a certain number of people like my photo, or if people don't respond to this Snapchat or Be Real or whatever, TikTok. And that's like, it's just not real. That's not really what matters. So I think it's hard though, because that's the culture that we're in right now.
You got to use it.
You got to use it. I mean, I like using social media, but I'm a grown up. So it doesn't, I'm still not like.
You know how to filter out the bad.
Yeah.
take
And I
in
know
the
how to
good.
like step away from it when I need to.
Yeah.
Because it really is an addiction. Like I can be addicted to it. I'm like, whoa, I'm way too on this thing right now.
What was the studio process like for you when you were so young, 12, 13 years old? I've been in the studio recording crappy punk songs and stuff like that, and it's a very long, tedious, boring process for most of it. Were you kind of brought in when the song was almost done to make sure that it wasn't so boring for you, or were you just sitting there bored?
I was sitting there a lot of time,
Yeah.
and I like co-wrote a lot of the songs on a handful of songs, even on my first album.
Yeah.
You know, so I learned a lot from sitting there. I learned a lot about vocal production, about song structure. So I was like a fly on the wall for a lot of it. And they indulged me and like asked me like, what do you think about this? Or blah, blah, blah. And, you know, so I was lucky in that sense. And you don't realize how much you can learn just by being in an environment sometimes, you know?
Did you reach a point where you wanted to take more ownership of your songs and have like, obviously you were co-writing for a while and now you're writing all of your stuff. Did you have a moment where that took over?
I wouldn't say it took over. It's just that you realize that you reach a certain point where you know just as much as the other people that are coming in, and that you're no longer, you know,
You're not the student.
Yeah, you're not the student, and you can be a part of the process. And actually, even now, I mean, I just love music. I love good songs. So the way my ego works is I'm cool with getting a song from another writer.
Yeah.
I don't need to have written it, but it kind of does feel better when you relate to what you're singing. So I don't take a song unless it's something that I feel like I want to bring forth, and I feel that I could, you know, put myself in it and I relate. And but yeah, it's not like I need to, you know, be the final or the only creator in it. Like, let's have a party. Let's collaborate. And I think you can get more when you are working with other people sometimes.
Is that how you write music now? Is your current songwriting process very collaborative?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm in a period where like I'm just kind of writing by myself in my phone, or taking notes, or just being inspired. But then I'll bring that to a more collaborative process as I start to record a new album like later this year.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, like once I finish this run on Broadway, I'm definitely going to start getting into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited. I'm inspired. I have a lot of shit that went down in the past couple years that I'm like excited to put into songs.
And what makes you choose this is the time to do an album versus this is the time to do an EP? Your last EP, Trying Not to Think About It, was awesome.
Thank you.
We saw you do that in Williamsburg.
Yes.
Saw that in Williamsburg, and then we saw it in Terminal 5 as well.
That's so dope.
The songs translate so well to live. Do you even think about the live performance now when you're putting these in the studio?
I do. I think about that a lot, actually. And I think about, will my band, you know, have something to extrapolate? You know, will they have something that they'll be excited about too? Because I think of myself as a musician singer. I love musicians. They matter to me so much. And I, you know, want to sing along with my guitar player. I want you to play a riff, and I want to try to do that. And I want us to have a relationship on stage. And so I do think about it, but it's, and I've even said that as I'm like thinking about what this next project is going to be. I really want to write great hooks and memorable things, and like have moments and songs that people relate to. And then I also want to have my little musical moments too. So it's all of that.
And you and your live band look like you're having so much fun on stage, like constantly smiling, laughing at each other. Yeah. Is that just part of choosing the right people that are the right vibe for you?
It is. Yeah, vibe curation for sure.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're on a bus with people, you better like them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have multiple buses, or like, you know, some artists have their own and they have their family on a bus and then they have their band and dancers and stuff. But like with the crew that we're running with, it's all of us together. And so it's really important to me, and life is too short and I'm too deep into my career to not have people that I respect, that I like, and that, you know, we're on a same wavelength.
Yeah. Who are your biggest musical inspirations nowadays? Are they the same as they were when you first started, or have they totally evolved?
I mean, I still have those that I like, that inspired me growing up. But like, I love Doja Cat. I love SZA. I love Kendrick Lamar. I think Ice Spice is great. Like, I think it just brings me joy to see people doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I love that. To have the audacity to be yourself is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I just always love to see that, and it inspires me. It makes me want to keep going and want to like give less fucks and just keep trying new things.
Yeah. Did you self-fund your last tour?
Yeah.
That's some like taking advantage, taking no fucks. Like,
but you know what?
Belief in yourself.
There's, you know, on a business tip, like there can be label support for tours, but all of that is recoupable. So I learned early on that if you can, you know, self-fund things, then you don't have to recoup that.
Yeah.
And
bet
a
on
little
yourself.
pro tip for your ass. You know, if you can.
Yeah. Your latest release kind of is a feature on a song called Cheat.
Mm-hmm.
What do you look for in a collaboration when someone reaches out and wants you to feature on a track? What's the number one thing that you look for? Is it relatability?
It's vibes.
Okay.
It's really vibes.
It's a vibey song. It's cool.
No, but it's like I really like Mahalia.
Yeah.
So that's what started. I like her music. I felt her energy through the interwebs, and like we chatted, and then she sent me the song, and I'm like, oh, I love this song.
Yeah.
And M&E who we've written together before, and he's a pal, and wrote the song, and there was still like he wrote the hook, and then parts of it were still open, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to like write on this, and so I felt like okay, I could flex a little. I could really sing on this song. It's a sick R&B record.
Got that R&B vibe. Yeah.
And it just felt like some Boy Is Mine, Brandy and Monica throwback. So it just has to feel right. I know that sounds really woo-woo, but I'm all about it.
What are, in your opinion, the best R&B features of all time? The first ones that come to mind for you.
Damn. Best R&B features? I love her and Daniel Caesar, Best Part.
Okay.
I think that's a beautiful duet.
Her is awesome.
Yeah, I love her so much.
She should be on every award show. She kills every performance.
She really does.
Yeah.
She's unreal. I love SZA and Doja Cat. Is it on the Kiss Me More remix or something, maybe?
I think that might be right, yeah.
And yeah, we live in such a collaborative time, so it's fun to see.
What is next for JoJo after Moulin Rouge? I know you're doing the next album. Is that the only thing in your future, your horizon after that?
Yeah, that's the only thing. No, that's it. I have some tour dates later this year that we haven't announced yet.
That's
what
I was hoping for,
yeah. And then next year for sure.
Cool.
And I'm writing about my life. I'm writing this memoir.
Oh, wow.
Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah. Next year will be...
How long have you been writing?
For a few months now.
Wow.
Next year will be 20 years since I released my first song, which is crazy, in my first album. So to be still young and to have 20 years under my belt is weird.
You're like the youngest veteran in the business.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I fucking love that position. Like, it actually really warms my heart when other younger artists will reach out and ask me for advice or ask me for support or whatever. I'm like, let me be your eccentric older sister, or you're like your auntie. Like, I just love it. And I want to share my weird stories and like my perspective and my experience, not only in the industry, but growing up, coming from humble beginnings, and then seeing everything that you could possibly see in this industry. And also, you know, life stuff, love stuff, song stuff, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, the humble beginnings. One of the things that I wasn't even prepared to bring up in this interview, but when I said JoJo's coming in, so many people said, oh my God, you have to ask about her Cribs episode. I don't know why that came up. I hadn't even...
So funny. Let me tell you about that. I don't know if people know this, but like that was my like that's the richest person in my family's house.
Yeah.
So we went to the Cape, which I've like never been to the Cape. I like never go to the Cape. And we said that was my house.
Oh, that wasn't your house?
No.
Wow. Is that a bombshell? Is that going to blow people's minds right now? Everyone's like, you have to ask her about the
that was
the
not
Cribs
my
episode.
sit and
It's so
spin.
funny. It's the best.
That
the
was
sit
like
and spin.
my little cousins.
That's what my friend Megan
My
brought
little
up. She
twin
said this
cousin,
sit and spin is iconic.
Connor
She
and
said.
Madison. I had like, no, that was not my house. We brought in some like items that I had. My mom and I were living in an apartment in New Jersey at the time.
In Edgewater. I'm a Jersey kid. I looked that up. I thought that was cool.
So I lived there from like 12 to 15, then moved back to Massachusetts, and then moved to LA when I was 19. But yeah, we went to my Uncle Scott's place in Wareham, Mass. Thank you, Scott. I so appreciate you letting us use your house for my iconic Cribs episode.
That is so funny.
Yeah, full of crap. It's all lies.
All right, so my last question I ask to every musician or artist that comes on the show. I'm a big Oasis fan, and Noel Gallagher of Oasis once said he summed up everything he ever wanted to say with rock and roll star, cigarettes and alcohol, and live forever. Just those 3 songs.
Okay.
He says after that, he's just repeating himself. So if you had to sum up everything you've ever wanted to say with 3 of your songs, which 3 would you select?
I would say Anxiety, Berlinda's theme from Try Not to Think About It. Keep On Keeping On from my first album when I was 12. And maybe Leave Get Out, because sometimes when you're through with somebody, they just need to get the fuck away from you.
That's a good way to put it. JoJo, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. This is great getting to talk to you. I can't wait for the memoir and for obviously the tour dates and album coming up.
Thank you. And hi, Rachel. We love you.